Looks like our numbers are evening out, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Megan Peasley, and I'm the Iowa Sourcelink Program Coordinator at the University of Northern Iowa's John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center. Here, we work with the Iowa Economic Authority to bring the Iowa Sourcelink platform to all business owners. Whether you're looking to start, grow, fund, or even exit your business, Iowa Sourcelink is here to help you. We provide step-by-step guides, make helpful referrals to our nearly 400 partners, and house the Business License Information Center. We also have the pleasure of presenting these webinars in partnership with the Iowa Department of Revenue. Today's webinar will cover how to use the GovConnect Iowa platform, and we have a panel of speakers from the Iowa Department of Revenue and the Department of Inspections, Appeals, and Licensing. Before we get into that, I have a few housekeeping items to go over. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available within the next week. You will receive a link to today's recording in the same email that you receive as proof of your attendance. The slides for today's webinar will be shared momentarily in the chat box by Sophie Troxel. Sophie and I will be sharing some other resources and contact information if and when they're brought up during the webinar in the chat box. Please enter any questions that you may have in the Q&A box located in the bottom half of your screen. We do ask that you focus on asking general questions that could apply to everyone. If you have a question specific to your situation, we recommend that you talk to the Department of Revenue or the Department of Inspections, Appeals, and Licensing directly. We're going to hold off on answering questions that come through until the very end, but don't worry, if there's not enough time for us to get through all the questions, we will send those questions to our panelists along with your contact information. Finally, as you noticed, today's webinar is a little longer than our normal 1-hour webinars. We're going to end today at 1 p.m. So we've divided the webinar into sections based on topic. Sophie is going to be posting the schedule in the chat for everyone, and the schedule includes some timing estimates for when we're going to discuss each topic to help make sure you don't miss a topic that you can learn about. And with that, I'm going to invite Jerica to take it away. Jerica is a GovConnect Iowa specialist and is going to be leading us through today's webinar. Jerica, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Well, it's great to see you all. If you have attended any of our GovConnect Iowa webinars, you have probably seen me before. My name is Jerica Pellington. I have been with the Department of Revenue for going on 10 years. I have worked primarily on the GovConnect Iowa team as well as in our examination and audit units. So I'm excited to work with you today and show you what we have to help you navigate through GovConnect Iowa. So let me go ahead and move on to the next slide here. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, so where I like to start is I just want to start by sharing ways that you can stay connected with us. We have been working on improving the customer experience, which is ultimately your experience for many years, but we do have several ways that you can stay connected in the digital age. So some options that you have here is that you can subscribe to our Gov Delivery updates, you can attend webinars like you are today, and then you can also follow us on social media. We do have a few more webinars that you can attend this year, and we'll show you those toward the end of the presentation. And then, like I said, with social media, you can follow us for updates. The most popular platform that we post on for businesses, governments, tax professionals is LinkedIn. So you can give us a follow out there, and you can also connect with us on LinkedIn. So the first thing that we always have to do if you've ever been to one of our webinars is we do have to give this disclaimer. Just note that this presentation is for general educational purposes only, and it should not be construed in any way as legal advice. The department could take a contrary position for this in the future, so just be aware of that. And just note that any data that we use in today's example is fictional and it does not include actual customer data. And then we can go ahead and get started here. So let me go ahead and introduce our panelists. So I've introduced myself a little bit. You will also see that we have Tara West. She works in our taxpayer services call center, and she works on the send a message program. So you may have interacted with her before. She will be going through the GovConnect Iowa portion of today's webinar. And then we also have Roxanne Levon and Lisa Gibson with us. Roxanne works with DIAL, which is the Department of Inspections, Appeals, and Licensing. She'll be going through license renewals available on GovConnect Iowa. And then we have Lisa Gibson with the alcohol team. She is the bureau chief over the alcohol licensing team, and she'll be walking through the new and renewal alcohol license applications that are available through GovConnect Iowa. So for the agenda that we have here for GovConnect Iowa, we're going to be focusing on quite a few different topics, but we're going to be looking at business registration, access and managing logons, third-party authorization, and then some features and navigation that we're passionate about, that we've been working on improving, and we're excited to show you. And then we'll also have the licensing side, which is the later half. Is you'll get to hear from DIAL, you'll get to hear from myself for lottery licensing, and then Lisa with alcohol. And then toward the end, closer to like 12:45, 12:50, there will be a session for a live Q&A. So if I do not answer your questions in the chat, or maybe if we see some common themes, we will pull those out at the end. So what I'll do now is I will go ahead and pass it to Tara to start with the GovConnect Iowa portion. All right, Tara, I do not hear you quite yet.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to business registration. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&As. All right. Okay, so let's talk about registering a new business. Have you ever filed a return with the department? If you have, there's no need to register. You simply need to request access to your accounts. If you have never filed a return with the department, you will create a logon and register your new business. Some of the permits and licenses you can register for are sales and use, withholding, fuel, which includes motor fuel, electric fuel, water service excise, and direct pay permits. You can find more information on our website using the link that is available on the screen. If you are a sole proprietor or a single member LLC planning to start your own business, there are unique steps for you. If you have filed an individual income tax return with the department, you are already registered in our system and need to request access to your individual income account. So the first step is going to be requesting access on GovConnect Iowa. Once you are connected, you'll go ahead and apply for the permits or licenses. If you are unsure of the needed numbers to request access to your account, you may call into Taxpayer Services for assistance. And our contact information is available on the website. All right, so let's talk about business income tax filers. If you are a business who is needing a permit or license, you must follow the steps on the previous slide regarding registering a business. If you are an existing business income tax filer who has previously filed a 1065, 1120, 1120S, etc., you will want to first create a logon and request access to that account. Once you receive the access code in the mail, you will log in and enter the code to connect to your account. If you're a brand new business income tax filer, first you're going to need to focus on filing your first return with us, and then we'll take care of the registration process for you. However, if you're needing to make an estimated payment, you do have the capability to do a quick payment via the homepage of GovConnect Iowa under the business panel. And next, we're going to go ahead and cover the different access types that are in GovConnect Iowa. We're going to first talk about full access, which is unlimited access to the accounts the user currently has. This is the highest level of access. Then the next level we're going to cover is going to be the administrator access, which is limited access with a focus on filing returns and making payments. The last level that we'll go over is going to be other party administrator, which is access to support your clients and manage secondary logons, which we'll talk about later in today's webinar. So let's go ahead and talk about the levels of access and who they pertain to. So full access is typically going to be geared towards our business owners or individuals of a business, such as officers. You have unlimited access to your tax accounts, which includes the ability to communicate with the department, file returns, make payments, update your account information, and manage other users who may have access to your account. This level of access can be canceled by the user themselves via settings, or it can be revoked by the department if the individual requesting the revocation is authorized. Now we're going to go over administrator access. This is most commonly used for employees, staff accountants, and bookkeepers inside of the company. This level has the ability to manage account information, file returns, and can manage lower levels of access. Now for the last level of access, it's going to be our other party administrators. This level is going to be geared towards our third party users, such as a CPA, a tax professional. And with that level, they can file returns and make payments on behalf of their clients. As an other party administrator, you do have the ability to give your staff access to the accounts you have access to by creating a secondary logon. Now that we've covered the access types, let's talk about what happens after you request access to an account. Access codes are mailed to the primary or headquarters mailing address on file with the department. They are valid for 90 days, and they're going to be unique to the username that requests them. So John Smith's access code he requested within his logon will not work for me inside my logon. All right. So for full access and administrators, they can add an additional logon. With adding an additional logon, if full access is given, the access cannot be taken away by anybody else. Again, that would need to be done by the department, or the user themselves can cancel the access within their logon. So let's go over how to add an additional logon. You're going to go ahead and follow the steps within the slide, and that new logon will be sent an email with the link to create a password and update their security questions. If you are giving access to an existing logon, you will need the existing user's logon information, so their name, username, and the email. And once that logon is connected, your account will appear in their logon. All right, so earlier we kind of talked about secondary logons for our other party administrators. We're going to dive a little deeper into the secondary logons. And again, these are going to be created by our other party administrators. So if you ask yourself, I'm going on vacation, who can I delegate this to? A secondary logon can perform work on your behalf without using your logon credentials. Are you hiring seasonal help? This logon type can be activated and deactivated in real time. If your secondary logon is locked out, their unlock resets are done by you, being the other party administrator, the delegated logon, otherwise known as a secondary logon, cannot request access to an account. It must be done by the other party administrator. So any access requests or entering any access approval codes, they're going to be done with the secondary logon. GovConnect Iowa users have found it useful to have the main logon or that other party administrator be the firm owner or a supervisor. So we've tried to simplify how you can add a secondary logon. It's important to know if it's after 24 hours since the logon access email has been resent. Make sure all prior emails are deleted before having the admin resend that logon access email. So again, they're only valid for 24 hours. If that link expires and they're redirected to that homepage of GovConnect Iowa, that is a great indication that that link is expired. Go ahead and advise them to delete all prior emails, and then go ahead and go into your logon and resend that link. All right, so here's a snippet to help you find what you're looking for. This is what it will look like in Manage My Profile, and you can see the Manage Secondary Logons hyperlink is highlighted. You'll go ahead and go there to create their logon. All right, so if you need to cancel access to your client's account because you're no longer working with them, no problem. My recommendation is to make sure that you're on the right customer. We're going to go ahead and navigate to the Settings tab within GovConnect Iowa, and you'll see a Cancel Access hyperlink. This will ensure your GovConnect account stays active while the client's account disappears. And again, if this is inadvertently done, you must request access to that account again. And next, we're going to focus on some reminders and other features that are on GovConnect Iowa. So due to confidentiality, third-party authorization must be on file with us prior to disclosing confidential information. If your third-party authorization is approved or rejected, you will be notified in GovConnect Iowa. I do want to give you guys a reminder that when we do that rejection or approval, in the event it is rejected, a letter will be mailed to the taxpayer, and it will have the physical form with the areas highlighted with the error. So you won't be able to see that physical form on GovConnect Iowa, just know it will come via USPS mail. All right, here are some reminders. We strongly discourage the use of password sharing. The web logon name should be the individual's name who is accessing the account. So for example, ABC Company isn't calling the department, it's going to be John Smith who's calling on behalf of ABC. And this does help us with unlock resets. We want it to be an individual's name. If you accidentally cancel your permit, you must reapply. And seasonal filers for sales and use, they must cancel and reapply to make changes to their filing. Seasonal filers are filers who only make sales in 4 months or less out of the calendar year. And with those months are not interchangeable. And you can view your filing frequency on GovConnect Iowa. Now, for my absolute favorite feature within GovConnect Iowa, it's going to be the returns and payments dashboard. With this feature inside GovConnect Iowa, it's beneficial if you're not sure if you filed a return, maybe you weren't sure if you made a payment. Maybe you have a credit or a balance on your account and you're not sure what that's for. This is the place you're going to want to be. It will break down the period activity and the payments, if applicable, that are applied to that period. You can find notices that were mailed regarding a specific period. You can see a credit or a balance, what it's for. So it's basically a snapshot of your account transactions broken down by the period. All right, and here is an example of what that period activity looks like. As you can see, ABC Company, we are billing them for tax, late pay penalty, and interest. And so a lot of times when individuals call into taxpayer services, I will bring them here to show them, hey, here's your tax amount from the return that you filed. Here's any payments that may have been applied. It's a great place to see, if you weren't sure if you got a billing, go here. A lot of information can be found within this feature inside GovConnect Iowa. All right, so with GovConnect Iowa, you are in control of your account. You do have the option of opting in for paperless delivery. Do note that some correspondence will be sent via mail, so not all notices are going to appear on GovConnect Iowa. All right, so GovConnect Iowa users have the capability to send a secure message to the Iowa Department of Revenue. These topics may include account, online service assistant, returns, payments, bill or notice questions, collections and payment agreements, reporting an issue, or other. With send a message, there is a quick follow-up time within 2 to 3 business days. And another feature that's good with that is you do get the same individual that will respond to that message. The next thing we're going to go over is responding to a letter. So you can respond to a letter directly on GovConnect Iowa, even without creating a GovConnect Iowa account. On the screen, you can see the logged in and non-logged in options. This feature does allow you to respond electronically and include attachments if applicable to address the information requested by the examiner or auditor. All right. So with the implementation of GovConnect Iowa, we can now assist you in real time by viewing your GovConnect Iowa session while we're on the phone. This allows us to see if there are potential issues and walk you through the process. To view a support ID, you would click on that question mark that's going to be located in the upper right hand corner of GovConnect Iowa. And once you click that, you'll see you have two options. You have the help, which is going to direct you back to the GovConnect Iowa help, and the view support ID, which you'll provide to typically your taxpayer service representative that's answering the phone. A common question is that we receive is, can you see my entire screen or other windows? The answer is going to be no. We can only see the GovConnect Iowa session, and the session resets when you exit that window or log out. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this presentation back over to Jerica.
Thank you, Tara. Really appreciate that. You had a lot of important information there to share. So what I'll do now is I do have some questions and answers that came in. So I do want to give us a chance to answer those. And if anyone is interested, we do have some additional time here to go through potentially like maybe a live demo of something that maybe you're trying to learn how to do on GovConnect Iowa. If you have maybe some frustrations, we can talk through those. So let me go ahead and read through here. One of the questions that we got was, we need a way to apply for an S Corp to make PTAP payments for new S Corps. The answer for that is that if you have a corporation, so if you're going to be filing one of those 1120s, 1165s, any of those, and you haven't pre-registered the business, maybe you don't need to, you can go in and make non-logged in payments without registering that business. And then what will happen is we will get those payments into our system, and they will sit there until you file the return. And then when you file that return, that's what's ultimately going to lead to that registration. And then we're going to connect the payments using your FEIN. And then another question that we have here is, I received a message stating the request was denied and a letter would be available. I don't see the letter, so what should be the next steps? The answer to that is that we do have different emails or notices that will go out to you. So if you happen to receive one for, say, like it's requesting access, say that we need to send you a physical access code letter, what will happen is you will receive a message in your GovConnect Iowa inbox, and then a letter with an access code would be mailed to the headquarters or primary mailing address. If this is regarding another request, maybe it is regarding like a third-party authorization, you can give us a call, or you can send us an email and we'll be able to help you. We did have another follow-up question regarding the opt-in process. So the question is, even if we've chosen not to receive paper letters, so to expand on that a little bit, is if you opt into paperless mail on GovConnect Iowa, what that is telling us is that you are trying to go paperless. And so what that means is that anytime that we send you a letter, you are going to be able to see that on GovConnect Iowa. And there are going to be some letters that we have to send out physically to you anyway. So an example of this is going to be the notice of assessment. That is one of those letters that we have to send out to you physically, but you will also receive a copy in your GovConnect Iowa account. And then some other questions that we've gotten, I'm going to go ahead and answer these live. How can we file an Iowa power of attorney for a corporation, S corporation, or partnership through GovConnect? So you have a couple different options. So one of the options is to get logged in, and this is if they already exist, if you've already filed that return, is you have to log into GovConnect Iowa, and then you have to be connected to the account in order to successfully like submit that electronically. I will tell you that we are working through some options in order for you to submit those power of attorney forms non-logged in, so that way you don't have to be connected. But right now, that's the only way that you can do that. And then another question that we have here is, under the GovConnect Iowa landing page under third-party services, what is the submit probate form used for? So that is a great question here. I am actually going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment, and I'm going to go out to the GovConnect Iowa portal here, and I will show you that. So bear with me here. Nice part of coming to our webinars is, like I said, we do try to make this interactive for you. So if you ask questions, we can go through them live. Let me go ahead and get this pulled up here. Okay, so you should be able to see my GovConnect Iowa screen here. So the question that came up is, what is this submit a probate form used for? So ultimately what this is doing is, say that you have an estate or some type of like inheritance fiduciary case that is closing. What you can do is we can come in here, and this is typically like the attorney that we see submitting these, and they can come in here and provide the decedent's information. And ultimately what this is telling us is that there may be like an end of probate coming. And so that's really who would use this. The Attorney General's office uses this primarily. We will be communicating this a little bit heavier here in the next few weeks. So this is where I would tell you to subscribe to updates, where you can learn more about like what you would do with this probate form. It's a good question. Okay, so I went through the questions there. There are some more things about GovConnect Iowa that we want to share. So one of them is going to be going into a sneak peek into what you can expect in November 2024. So if you have been following the Iowa Department of Revenue for any period of time, you would know that we are going through a modernization program. And so what that means is that we've been modernizing our systems, both systems that you use, but also systems that we use. So we are going down to 22 systems, from 22 systems down to 2, one for us and one for you. So what does this mean is that this year, November 12th, we are going through our 4th system update. And so what this means for you specifically on GovConnect Iowa is that we are going through panel reorganization. And so what you've seen over the years is that we've added links. Well, what we did is that we took all of the feedback that we've gotten from you, from other customers, from the people using GovConnect Iowa, and they're saying, hey, this link doesn't make sense to be here. So we took a targeted approach to go through and say, okay, where should the links live? Should they be named something different? What does that look like? So we went ahead and reorganized those links, and that will go live in GovConnect Iowa in November. So that's something for you to look forward to. And again, subscribe to those GovConnect Iowa updates so you can see those changes. Another change is that we do allow for one logon for all portals. So currently we have 5 portals that are open. The one that we have been covering today is the main GovConnect Iowa portal. There are some people that may use our debt administration portal. So what that means for rollout 4 is that if you use multiple portals, you can now log in with one username and password for all of them. So that way it's simplified. It's just that one logon for all of the portals. And then secondly, we did hear feedback from some that creating a logon was a little too hard. And so what we've done at this point is we streamlined this process, and we added some additional screens after you get logged in that tell you the next steps, whether it's registering a new business, making a payment, completing a license renewal, or any of those things that will be improved in November. So we did talk about some of the important dates to know. So in specifically, we have 2 here. So we have one for the withholding income tax series. That's going to be November 13th, 2024. And then we're also going to have our annual W-2 and 1099 training on December 11th, 2024. So it looks like we have one more question here. And then what we'll do is we will take a pause, and then we'll come back at 11:50. So let me go ahead and answer this one. A taxpayer that has full access rights, will their company accounts be auto added as Iowa expands programs in GovConnect? So that is a great question. So if a taxpayer has full access rights, as we continue to grow GovConnect Iowa, say if they, say that there's a cigarette or tobacco distributor and they have that account type, or they file those returns, if they have full access and they're registered in our system, they will automatically get access to those new account types as they're added. If you are an administrator or another party administrator, you will need to request access to those additional account types, or that person with full access can give those to you as well. All right, so I will go ahead and pass this back to Megan here. Megan, we're going to go on just a brief pause here until the 11:50 session starts with Dial.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, like she said, we'll just go ahead and take a pause. I'll watch the chat just to make sure people know what's going on.
So it looks like we have a couple questions that are coming through the chat that I'm going to answer live here. So Dawn, I'll answer your question first. One of those is asks, can we have one firm login for all of our clients, and can we combine all the current ones? So the answer to that is you can have one person actually be like what we call the parent logon. So what that means is that you could like say for yourself, you know that you're going to have like maybe 5 staff members that are going to be working with your clients. You can have that one logon for yourself, and then you can create those secondary logons for your clients. If you currently have separate logons for all of your staff, and maybe you guys all requested access separately, you can combine the current ones. What I would recommend is that you send an email to the department. What I'll do is I will actually give you my email address, and if you send me an email with a little bit of explanation about like how your current setup is and provide one of your email addresses, I can dig a little bit deeper here, and then I can help you come up with a game plan to, set up what that should look like for your firm a little bit easier too. I'll go and send that to you. Another question that we got was, will the dial session cover gambling licenses? The dial session today will not cover gambling licenses. Those are not available in GovConnect Iowa. Then looks like we got a question about third-party authorization here. All right. So one of the questions that we have with third-party authorization is, what number do we use? It's really going to depend based on what you look at on the form. What I would recommend is we have a pretty in-depth training for third-party authorization, and we've also done webinars. So I would actually head out to the Iowa SourceLink page, or you could go to our website and view prior webinars that we've done, and you may be able to find your answers there. And I'll go ahead and type that in the chat as well. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them while we're waiting for the dial session to start. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. A great question that came through the chat here that may impact quite a few of you is I've got a client who has two separate GovConnect Iowa accounts, one for sales and use, the other for the S Corp election and withholding. How would I go about combining them? So there are really 2 points to consider here. So with the two separate GovConnect Iowa accounts, if there are two separate logons, so say that you have two usernames, what you would do at that point is you would want to request access or click add access to this account if they have full access underneath one of those logons. And then you would be able to delete the other profile. So that's one way. Now, if it's one GovConnect Iowa account and the accounts are underneath maybe what we call like two separate customers, so like there's two ABC companies and the accounts are underneath different accounts, then what you would do to combine those ones is you would contact the Department of Revenue. So you could call us, you could email us, and we would be able to work with our registration team to combine those. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are at 1 minute out from the start time from the dial portion of our presentation. So what will happen next is at 11:50, we'll go ahead and let Roxanne Lavon kick it off for dial licensing. And then around 12:10 or so, we will carry into lottery and then alcohol. At the end, we will have another portion for a live Q&A. So feel free to put your questions in the chat. If you would like to see a demo of something on GovConnect Iowa, we are happy to do that as well. Just go ahead and put it in the chat or the Q&A, and we will be able to help you. So we'll just go ahead and wait 1 more minute here. So it looks like, Roxanne, I am actually going to pass it over to you.
Hi. Welcome, everybody, and thank you. My name is Roxanne Lavon. I'm with the Dial licensing team in partnership with the Iowa Department of Revenue. We have been very excited to work on this GovConnect project and be incorporated into it. Let's see. For an overview, excuse me, for an overview of what you will see, the Iowa Department of Inspections, Appeals, and Licensing, we encourage all businesses to renew or update their food and lodging licenses online using GovConnect Iowa. Which dial licenses you're going to be eligible for renewing or updating on GovConnect. I'm going to go through those with you. How to utilize the dial renewal form during the renewal process on GovConnect Iowa, and a tutorial on how to navigate GovConnect Iowa. I thought it would be quite interesting to go ahead and show you guys the impact that GovConnect has had on the renewal applications that we have received over the past few years. Year 1 in 2021, it started in November. We had one person in 2021 between November and December go on and renew their food and lodging license through GovConnect Iowa website. In 2022, it grew a bit to 621. In 2023, it was a massive jump. We really pushed everybody to go to GovConnect Iowa and try to utilize that website, as it is so nice to be able to do a multitude of things there in one spot. We are projected to still increase, and hopefully in 2025, our numbers will continue to rise. There are 11 dial food and lodging licenses that you can currently renew. We have the event registration, annual temporary event, food processing, a home food processing, hotel, retail, vending machine, the food service establishment, an unattended food establishment, a mobile food unit, and then the farmers markets. When you first get to GovConnect, we do have a lot of customers that are new to this website. Maybe they've never been here. They have other people that do their taxes for them. So oftentimes we are walking them through how to set up the account. First, we ask them to go there and create the account, put their name, username, email, password, phone number. The next step in here is going to be getting a two-step verification. You can elect to get that via the app, a text message, or email. I elected for this case to get my two-step verification through phone, just to send me a text. And then this is so important. To verify the security code, oftentimes when we have people calling in, they want to see how to create this account. So it's very simplified now. It's beautiful. We love it. And then I often tell people, don't forget to protect their account with a two-step verification. Once you are logged in to GovConnect and you've passed that two-step verification, it all depends on if you are attached to a tax account or if you are not. So this photo shows a company that is attached to a tax account, and you'll see I want to as the fourth tab that's up there. You also have the option to search Dial, and it will generate the Dial food and lodging. Once you're logged in and not connected to any tax account, so for a brand new user, you're going to see a series of white, I like to call them little white boxes, GovConnect Access, individuals, and then the third one is businesses. And then you'll see the fourth one down is the Dial food and lodging licenses. And once you're there, I like to call this step 8 because there were 2 ways to get to this point. Once you are here, simply click on the Renew Food and Lodging Licenses. The other option is you can look at the draft-in submissions to pick up where maybe you had left off prior if you had started something. But if you're new, go ahead and renew Food and Lodging Licenses. On this page, you have the option to either enter your Dial username and license number with that first bubble option. The second bubble option will allow you to enter the business code and license number. For all of our customers, we email them renewals and we also mail out paper renewals. On those renewal forms, our customers can find the business codes that are specific for their businesses and then their personalized license numbers. Once those are entered, you'll be able to hit next and move on to the next screen, where you're going to find all the businesses that you're associated with. This is my test one, so I'm associated with a ton of businesses. You have the option up top to show all of your businesses, or you can select Show Available for Renewal. That is on the upper right-hand side of your screen. Once selected, the business that I had selected has multiple licenses on there: food processing plants, home food processing, and others. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner, you can select all of them that are eligible for renewal, just the renew, and there's also an update option. That update option is huge, especially for our customers that have a home food processing establishment and maybe they're changing their menu and they want to notify their inspector or our office of something new that they're going to be changing. So then once you're down there, you have the toggle options in under each license type for renew. You would just select them or deselect them if you are opting not to renew each of those at that time. The next category would be with the expiration. You can choose if you want to show your gross sales. And the gross sales, you can elect not to show your gross sales and you would automatically be paying the max fee. A pop-up will appear underneath that and you'll just check the box and it will say you acknowledge that you are paying the max fee. Otherwise, the next screen will show you what one license type looks like with gross sales being shown. $10,000, I elected to pay my gross sales and I entered $10,000 there. And I had deselected the other licenses so I could show you just what one looks like with the gross sales represented. On the next screen, you'll enter your contact information. If you are showing your gross sales, you'll have the option to upload your attachments, which you can use your gross sales that are paid to the Department of Revenue, maybe your sales tax. And then you have your final review. Your final review is going to show your license number, your contact information, and then the next page you will get to submit it and it'll show your fee amount. This is what the very final payment screen looks like. And it shows the amount. You have 2 options, a credit card or a bank account. We do ask that if you receive your confirmation number after you submit your payment, to please hold on to that confirmation number for about a month's time, just to ensure if any issues are to arise that we can revert back to your payment with that confirmation number. One last note is we ask that when you are logging in, please do not click the quick pay option. Quick pay will take you back to the Department of Revenue's tax liabilities. Any payments that are made there are not going to come to your food license renewal. And that is all I have for you. Are there any questions that I can help? Or I think we're waiting for questions towards the end.
Yeah, that's great, Roxanne. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that you work one-on-one with quite a few of these businesses that are renewing these licenses. Are there any common questions that you get, whether it's about like the license or about GovConnect Iowa, that maybe you didn't touch on here that you would be able to talk about today?
Oftentimes I get people calling in and I really wanted to show what the screens look like when you are creating the account. We get a lot of new users. We get a lot of people that that have the CPAs or the accountants that do the login. So they're a bit apprehensive. So I really wanted to touch base on how simple it can be and to provide that visual. Oftentimes I walk them through that on the phone.
That's great. Thank you, Roxanne. There is a question for Dial here. Will future enhancements on GovConnect Iowa for Dial services include the ability to apply for or renew social and charitable gambling licenses and or file annual reports?
We would absolutely love to have that incorporated sometime in the future, but at this time, I can't tell you if that is happening anytime in round 4. It's definitely not happening in round 4, and I do not have the information if that's going to be happening in round 5 or not.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Roxanne.
Absolutely.
There was
Thank you.
another question here. No problem. There was another question here about quick pay that I wanted to talk about. One of the questions was, if I'm not supposed to use quick pay for Dial, then why is it there? The answer for that is that quick pay here is really for quick payments that apply to tax accounts. So think for business and individual income. If you are making a payment that needs to go to Dial, you should be doing that through the renewal process. Roxanne, if they happen to make a payment within the renewal process and that payment gets returned for any reason, what's the next best step? Is it to contact you, or do you have any recommendations?
I would have them reach out to the Department of Revenue to get that going on their end to see if they can get a refund issued to them, or maybe they want to keep and have that applied towards their tax liability.
Thanks, Roxanne. All right, so it looks like that's all that we have for the Dial session today. We will be here for just a few more moments and then we'll get started on the lottery portion. Feel free to ask any questions that you have in the chat here. Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you, Jerica.
All right, so we are nearing our next segment for the lottery licensing. Thank you guys for your patience today. I know that we've had some windows of time here. Hopefully you've been able to maybe eat your lunch or do some work in the meantime. But what we're going to be covering in this next segment here is going to be lottery licensing. Like I said, I do work on the GovConnect Iowa team. I don't necessarily work with lottery licensing as in like the background research of it, but I was involved in both the building, the implementation, and everything else about the online lottery licensing process. So hopefully I can share some insight for you here. So let's go ahead and talk about how we get started with lottery licensing. So if you are a retailer or you're working with a retailer that wants to begin selling like lottery tickets, Powerball, any of those, they do have to have a lottery license, and that is where this process starts. GovConnect Iowa is the only place where a retailer can apply for a lottery license. So super good training for you if you haven't seen it before. So in order to get started here, one of my first recommendations is that you start at the lottery website. So the lottery website offers basic details about the electronic retailer licensing process. So you can find that information at iowalottery.com, and you're looking for that retailer licensing information page, and that's going to be in the very top right corner where it says for retailers. You are able to find that, and what this is going to do is provide you step-by-step information, but then it's also going to direct you to the GovConnect Iowa portal to help you apply for that lottery license. So what happens at this point is after you go to GovConnect Iowa, you really have two options. So what you're seeing here, this is the home page of the GovConnect Iowa portal. So businesses can start the licensing process for the lottery license by using the prompts that are highlighted here. So if you already have an account, maybe you already have a sales and use account, you already file through GovConnect Iowa, you have the ability to log in, and once you're connected to that sales and use permit, you could go through and start applying. If you are a new business, or maybe you're just new to GovConnect Iowa, you would start by clicking create a logon. And once you create that logon, you would be able to either register the business, request access, and by any means start that lottery licensing process. Once a GovConnect Iowa profile has been created, you can log in. I will tell you that if you have difficulty with these steps, maybe you need a little help, you can contact our taxpayer services team for assistance, and they can walk you through this step by step. So like we've talked about before, is you do have the two-step verification when you log into GovConnect Iowa for the first time. I will tell you that the nice thing is that we have this option on GovConnect Iowa that says trust this device. So if you get annoyed having to enter it in every time, you can click that and it will ultimately save the device that you're using, whether it's your phone or computer, and then you don't have to request that security code next time. You do have three options here: the authentication app, the text message, or email. We do have instructions on the screen for you. So if you get stuck, I would say probably just take a pause and see if there's any help information out there for you. So like we've been talking about, is the first step is to get connected here. So like I said before, is that you must have a sales and use permit prior to applying for that lottery license. If you forget, there are instructions underneath this lottery licensing link that will help you understand what your next step is. If you already have a sales and use permit, you should just request access to the account. And once you're connected to that account, then you could go forward and apply for the lottery license. Just a reminder that when you request access, the access code letter will be physically mailed to you if you already have an existing account. So you will have to come in here and enter that access code before you would able to begin applying. We do have video tutorials that are available if you would like a more in-depth walkthrough of that process. And then on the other side, if you're a new business owner, you would want to register the new business first, and then you could apply for the new license after this business registration request has been completed. So after you're connected to the sales and use permit, or after you've registered the business, you're going to see 4 tabs that are here. So the tab that matters most to you in terms of lottery licensing is going to be the I want to tab. So we will click that and you'll be able to see a variety of options that are available. So once you click into the I want to tab, you're going to see there are different panels, different links that are available. From this tab, you're looking for that lottery licensing link. So on the screen, I have highlighted what we call like a filter search bar. And basically what that allows you to do is you can type in keywords and it will help you find what you need quicker. So even if you're not looking for Iowa Lottery, maybe you're looking to view like the returns and payments dashboard, you are able to search for that here. So for example, here you could type in lottery or licensing to find what you're looking for, and you would be able to see that lottery licensing link. If you don't filter for lottery, you can scroll down to find the link that you need. You will see quite a few different options. And it's important to realize that depending on what you have access to, that lottery licensing link may be in a different location. Like I said, depending on what you have access to. So something to keep in mind, you're really just looking for that Managed State of Iowa Licenses panel. So the step 3 after you're connected is you are going to start by applying for the lottery license. So there are 2 options that are listed here. So the first one is lottery license, and this is how you're going to begin that new application. The second one is that you can search for drafts and submissions. And so this is where you can view previously submitted applications and payments that you have sent in. So we're going to cover what you'll need to complete your Iowa Lottery license application. So first, you're going to need the owner's information, and this includes the ownership percentage. It asks for their first and last name, their email, so make sure you have that available. Next, you should be prepared to answer some general questions about the business's history. This information gives us insight into the business operations and background. The third one is your banking information, specifically your account and routing number. We will need that to do any of our checks that we do. And then lastly, you'll need to provide one of the following: a voided check, a financial institution letter, or a deposit slip from your bank. And we'll walk through a little bit of what that looks like for you when you're actually attaching it. Having all of these items ready will make the application process a lot smoother and quicker for you. So the first step when you get in here after learning what you'll need is you will need to choose the sales and use permit location. So remember earlier how I was talking about how you have to be connected to that sales and use location? This is what it's doing, is it's associating it to something that you have already registered with the Iowa Department of Revenue. So for example here, this is a location that I have underneath the sales and use permit. You'll see here that I have the location name as test. That's because I was testing this here for us, but this could also be like Southside store. Maybe it's a store number that goes in here. The location name is something that is typically named when you're registering that new location. You can also see here, these are what I like to call breadcrumbs. This is showing you where you're at in the process. So as we go through the presentation today, you'll be able to see which step of the process I'm on. So in this case here, I would select this all eligible locations and I would click next. So what's going to happen at this point is this is showing you your business information. And really what this is trying to do is make sure that you're verifying that you're on the right customer and that you have a lot of the right information here. So for example, what you're looking at is your store name. Make sure that you're on the right store, so that way you're applying for the right lottery license application. Make sure that the business information is correct. If for some reason you see that maybe the FEIN is wrong, the ownership type is different, my recommendation for you would be to contact the Iowa Department of Revenue. So you can call our taxpayer services team and they will be able to walk you through what you need to change, maybe any forms that you need to complete, and they will ultimately, be your friend during this process. The next step that you will see here, this is the owner information that I was talking about earlier. You are required to enter in their first and last name, their email, and the ownership percentage. here. And then once you have completed those fields, then you're going to be answering the security questions. So when you're using GovConnect Iowa, you will notice that the screens are dynamic and they're responsive to your selections. So what this means is that as you navigate through the application, the information that's presented on the screen will change based on the choices that you make. So for example, if you select yes, say to the first question, or you indicate something, the system will automatically display relevant details or prompts directly on the screen. So what I'm trying to say is that if we need additional information from you, or there's something that we need you to share, you will see it right here on the screen and we will ask you for more information. The next step that we hear is asking for more detailed information about your store. So some important things to keep in mind here is the license contact. So this is really going to be the person that is going to be the department's contact for, any licensing questions that we have. One important thing to keep in mind on this screen is this email field. So we'll talk about this a little bit later at the end, but just make sure that this email is correct and it's something that you check regularly. This email is where our communications are going to go for lottery needs. So if we need to send you a follow-up email, if you have to provide more information, this email is where that's going to go. The next step that we have here is to talk about the business history. So of course, honesty is policy, right? What I would do here is just make sure that you're being honest and you're answering the questions yes or no. If we need any further information, again, we would ask for it either on the screen or we will contact you after we've done our initial review. The next step that you have is the bank information. So you can see here that we have a description just explaining what we're using it for. It's really any future payments. You do have to pay an initial license fee, and you are asked for that on a future screen. So just something to keep in mind if you're like, hey, why am I entering this twice? It's because it has two different purposes. One is for future payments and one is for the payment that you make today. So once you have entered in like the checking, the savings information, all of that account information, it'll take you down to the bottom of the screen. And so what you're going to see is this authorization. And really what we're looking for is that you are authorizing that we're collecting this information and that we have the right to initiate future debit and credits if we need to. There is a picture down at the bottom. I know people don't use checks anymore, but this will show you where you would find it on a check if you have one. So once you check that box, you'd be able to click next and go on to the next screen. So what you're seeing here are the attachments. So we talked about this at the beginning, but we do require at least one of these three attachments. What you will see when you add in the correct attachment type is that the check mark next, or the checkbox here, that line, that will turn green to the left of it, and that will tell you that you have successfully uploaded it. You shouldn't have any issues with file sizes. In the time that we've been live with this, that would be November 2021. I have not heard of any, file size issues for the lottery application. So you should be able to upload anything that you need here. So what will happen when you go through and are trying to find this, what you would do is you would select the type, whether it's a voided check or deposit slip, you would enter a description here. And then for the file, when you click choose file, it's going to open up your file explorer. And basically what that's going to do is let you search through your computer drive and find that attachment. Once you find that attachment, you're able to double click it, or you're able to click, I think it says open, and then that will attach it in GovConnect Iowa, and then you can proceed to the next step. So this next step here is going to review your application. So you're going to see the license fee, which is a flat rate fee of $25. And then you're also able to see the business information that's out here. I do recommend that you go through and review this. This is a one-time application, so that's the perk of it. However, you want it to be correct. Down at the bottom, you are required to certify the application. So we do have, this legal language down here where you are basically, signing that attestation and electronically signing the document. So you would enter in your first and last name, And once you do that, it's going to take you to what we call the shopping cart. So I like to think of this a little like Amazon, not as exciting as Amazon, of course, because you're not getting anything sent to your house, but you can have a shopping cart for your licenses through the department and dial. So if you are a retailer and you know that you are going to be applying for a lottery license, maybe an alcohol license, one of the licenses that Roxanne had mentioned earlier, you can do all of this in one transaction. So that way you're only making one payment. In today's case, I'm only applying for that lottery license. So let's take a look at those payment options. So like you saw earlier in Roxanne's, you're going to see that we have two payment options. You can either pay by bank account or by credit card. Some important information to realize here is that if you're paying by bank account, you may need to contact the bank to authorize payments that originate from us. You don't always need to do that, but there are some cases where maybe you have like a debit block on your account. You would need to go in and pre-authorize that. Another question that we commonly get is about the credit card. So a fee of 2.5% is assessed by the credit card vendor. I do like to say that this credit card fee is not paid back to the state. This is actually charged and kept by our third-party credit card vendor. So something to keep in mind here. So then what happens next after you pay for your license and you submit that application? So the first step is that lottery license is sent to the Iowa Lottery Licensing Team. And then what happens is once they get that application, they're going to conduct security reviews, background checks. They may request additional information from you. So some of that additional information would include like an owner questionnaire. So if you are an owner, they may need more information from you. So remember that license email, that's where you're going to go through, and that's where that next email is going to come in and say, hey, we need you to complete this questionnaire. Here's the next step. And so that's what you're looking for. And then what will happen is it will actually take you to the system that we call GEM-E. And that's where you would complete any of that, necessary follow-up. So here is that email address from GEM Enterprise, where that license representative will get that email. If you don't receive this email or you need assistance or you have more questions, my recommendation would be to call the Iowa Lottery. I did include the phone number on the screen, but you can also call the department's main customer service number, and they would be able to point you in the right direction here. So we've tried to make it, a pretty seamless process. Prior to 2021, this was only paper. And so, we've had a big improvement to allow this to go electronically. So that's all that I have for lottery licensing. But what I'll do here is let me see if I have any questions. I don't think so. Nope, I don't see any questions about the lottery. So what I will do is we are very close to the next segment here of 12:30. We'll just go ahead and keep going. And so I am going to pass this over to Lisa Gibson. Lisa has been on we'll call it the program here of building all of this. She's been on this really since the beginning, a really integral part of making sure that this is successful and listening to your feedback. So just a shout out to Lisa, and Lisa, take it away.
Thanks, Jerica. As Jerica mentioned, I am the public service manager over the alcohol licensing team. Today, I'm going to go through some slides on how users can submit a new application for an alcohol license or a renewal application. So we'll jump right into it and get started here. So we have 4 license types currently available on the GovConnect Iowa website that users can either, again, apply for a new license or renewal. Our 2 on-premise license types that are available right now are our Class C retail alcohol license, our special Class C retail alcohol license, which is the beer and wine license for taverns, bars, and restaurants. That Class C is for our liquor, beer, and wine for on-premise consumption for taverns, bars, and restaurants as well. The 2 off-premise licenses for off-premise consumptions that we currently offer are the Class B retail alcohol license and the Class E retail alcohol license, and those will be for your grocery and convenience stores. So for new applications, they must be connected to the sales and use permit before applying. Renewal applications do not have to be connected to the sales and use permit on GovConnect, but they must be logged in and have a security code and license number ready. That security code, just so you're aware, is sent to you via email for when you receive your 70-day renewal application. You'll be able to find that security code in that first email. So this is very similar to how Jerica explained for lottery. So if you already have an account to log in, you would go ahead and enter that information. Otherwise, you would click on create a login for a new user. Again, you will have a two-step verification process that you can pick from. And then you can either connect to the existing sales and use permit by requesting access to an account, or if you are a new business owner, register the business first by clicking register a new business. Then when you get to this step, you'll want to click on the tab that says I want to. And then again, you can start doing a quick search by entering the word licensing or alcohol to do a quick find. Once you do that, the option will pull up for alcohol licenses. So the first box here, you can either select to apply for an alcohol beverage license or select renew an alcohol beverage license. You can also search any drafts and submissions from this page, as well as view the alcohol license status. Oh, in addition, we will be shifting to from the name Alcoholic Beverage Division to the Alcohol and Tax Compliance Department. All right, so what you will need for your Iowa alcohol license application is your license information. So the length of license, privileges, and subpermits you're requesting, any owner's information, which would include social security number, date of birth, and home address. Contact person information, so a person who would be a point of contact if we had to reach out for any questions or additional information. You would also want your premises information and your DRAM insurance company information if that's applicable to the license type you are applying for. In addition to a new application, there are specific documents required based on the license type you're applying for. So if you do apply for a new application, you will be required to upload those documents at the time of submission with that new application. So to begin the license application, you can select which location you are going to be applying for that license for. On this page, you'll want to review the premise information. So the premise information on this left-hand side here would be the doing business as name is the premises name and your address of the location. The business information is the legal entity that holds the license. So you would want to review any all the information for here, the FEIN number and ownership type and headquarters. If everything looks good, you'll click next to the next page and select your license type. So again, these are the 4 licenses that we currently have available on the GovConnect system. Once you've selected the license type, it'll take you to the page where you'll begin entering the license information for that location. So it'll ask for the length that you're requesting to apply for, a tentative effective date, and if you have any additional subpermits or privileges that you want to add to the license type. On the next page, you'll be able to enter additional business information. So if you are registered with the Iowa Secretary of State based off of your business type, you would enter that on this page. You can also look up your business number on the Iowa Secretary of State website by clicking the blue hyperlink on this page as well. So next it will take you to the ownership, individual ownership information. So here is where we would go ahead and enter either the individual's information, and if there's a company that's part of the ownership, you would enter that as well. You must have at least one individual listed on the application, and the total percent of the ownership of the license cannot exceed 100%. So on this page here, you would enter in specific information for each individual owner. Again, requesting their first and last name, social security number, ITIN, percentage of ownership, date of birth, and the individual's home address. The criminal history page will ask 2 criminal history questions. Similar how Jerica was explaining it for lottery applications. Based off your response on this page, it might ask for additional or more detailed required information in regards to that individual. And then once you're completed with that, it takes you to the contact page. So this again is the point of contact that you would want to list if we have any additional questions or need any information. This is the person that we would be reaching out to. On this page here, this is going to be your premises information. So the location of the address to which your operations are taking place out of, your premises name, control of premise, your address, the type, and the city. If this was a renewal application, this information would already be pre-populated and you would not be able to make any changes on the renewal application and would have to contact the alcohol licensing department to do so. On the next page, you'll select which local authority or jurisdiction that the application will go through. And then once you've completed that, you'll answer questions on the application based off of your premises. Different license types do have different application questions, so they won't all be the same, but based off the license type you are applying for, you'll proceed with answering the questions being required. So you'll get to the premise activity page, which again, you can answer specific questions in regards to your premises on this page. And then after completing that, it will take you to the document upload page. So again, here, if this is a new application, you will be required to upload the required documents that are listed. If you are completing a renewal application, the documents are not required to be uploaded prior to submitting the application, but are optional if you would like to do so. And then once you have completed uploading your attachments, you'll go to the review page, where you can review all the information that you have entered in and go back and make any changes at that time if necessary. Once you've completed that, you'll go to the attestation page where you will endorse the application. The name that will need to be entered on this page will need to be a listed owner on the license. And then once you've completed that, you'll be ready to check out and pay for your licensing fee or add another application if need be. So again, you have 2 different payment options here that you can select from. So after you make your option, you'll either be able to save that payment type for future reference, or it can just be a one-time option. What happens next? So after you've submitted your alcohol application, depending on the license type you've applied for, it might require a dram insurance company review and or local authority review. And then it will be sent to the alcohol licensing team though for final review and approval. The team reviews the application, conducts the necessary security checks, and may send the application to the local authority for further review or additional information. So if you have any questions in regards to the process or the status of your application, you are able to view that as well via the public database, which is available on the Iowa Department of Revenue website. And that completes the alcohol licensing application process.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lisa. I do see that we have 3 questions that have come in regarding alcohol licensing. So Lisa, when you're available here, the first question that we have is who uses GovConnect and who uses ELAPS for retail alcohol licenses?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Right now, all applicants and licensees can use both ELAPS licensing system and GovConnect. If you are a DRAM insurance company or a local authority user, you will have to use our ELAPS system at this time.
Thank you, Lisa. Another question that we got is, are we no longer using ELAPS for liquor licenses?
You do have the option to continue to use the ELAP system to apply for a new or renewal or submit an amendment application for your license.
Thank you. And then it looks like there is one last question here. For alcohol licensing, we've been using ELAPS. At what point will we need to convert to GovConnect Iowa, and what is the process?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We don't have a specific date or timeline at this moment, but when we do, we will be sending out communication and instructions with tools and resources and QRGs for guidance and references.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa. So that concludes our presentation for today. So I do have just some final information here. If you have any questions, you need any follow-up here, we do have an opportunity here to answer some live questions, but you can also reach out to us through GovConnect Iowa, phone, email. These are options that are available to you. So Megan, I'll let you go ahead and finish with any final housekeeping items that you may have here while I watch the Q&A portion.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you again to everyone who presented today and for all the information that you have shared about the GovConnect Iowa system. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available to watch on our website or by searching Iowa SourceLink on YouTube within the next week. If you have any follow-up questions or your questions were not answered today, we can email them to our panelists along with your contact information so that they can follow up with you. As a reminder, Iowa SourceLink does not provide a continuing education certificate for your attendance today. We do, however, send out an email to everyone who participated within a few days after our webinar concludes so that you can use it as proof of attendance. Our next webinar will be held on October 30th from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this webinar will cover employee-owned cooperatives, strategies and insights for alternative solutions to your client's business, succession challenges, and it will be led by the Drake University Law School's Entrepreneurial and Transactional Law Clinic. Check out the registration link for more information. Visit iowasourcelink.com and navigate to our tax webinar pages to sign up today. And with that, I am not seeing any more questions in the Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude our webinar. Thank you guys for attending.